Hi friends, in today's video we're going to be learning some exercises and stretches to remedy sciatic pain or sciatica. Sciatic pain comes from the sciatic nerve, which comes out of your sacrum. It comes out and goes down your leg. Oftentimes you'll feel burning or tingling, numbness in the back of your leg or inner thigh, or your kind of the outside of your hip. So one of the things that can cause sciatic pain is prolonged sitting or a lot of tightness in those glute muscles. Sometimes it's the outer ones, oftentimes it's the deeper muscles that are closer in contact with that sciatic nerve, such as the piriformis. In most people, the sciatic nerve runs right underneath the piriformis muscle. It's kind of a pear-shaped glute muscle that's deep to gluteus maximus, medius, and minimus. And the piriformis, when it's tight, it can put a lot of compression on that sciatic nerve. So we're going to be doing some piriformis stretching, we're going to be doing some low back stretching, and some glute stretching to try to take some of the pressure off the sciatic nerve. Alright friends, our first exercise is going to be a sciatic nerve floss. So coming down onto your back, we're going to take your knee and you can bring it up pretty tight into your chest, or you can leave it kind of back here depending on how tight your hamstrings are. You're going to clasp your hands behind your knee, and then just keeping your toe flexed, we are going to straighten that knee as much as you can, really feeling it in your hamstring, in the back of your glute. This is the first variation of this, this stretch, this sciatic nerve floss. The second variation, and this is usually a little bit more difficult, is we're going to flex your toe at the bottom, and then as you come up, you're going to point your toe. So flexed, point. And then of course you're going to want to do both those on the opposite side. And then the final variation would be the opposite of what we just did, pointing at the bottom, flexing at the top.
Wide awake, smiling still in my bed. The running scenes of last night through my head. I found myself in
The next exercise is a piriformis stretch. So we're going to do the first variation of this stretch on our backs, crossing one leg over the other, the ankle to the thigh. And this may be enough just to cross that over, kind of like you're making a number 4. And you're just going to push out against your knee, and you should feel that stretch kind of down in that outer glute. If that is enough, you can stay here, hold this for 30 seconds to a minute or two on each side. And if you need some more, we're going to reach through, one arm will go through the hole between your legs, and the other will come around the outside, and we're just going to clasp your legs here. You can clasp under your knee or over it, just depending on how much mobility you have in your hips, and letting that knee continue to go outward. So you can do a little bit of a variation of that, whatever helps you to feel that stretch in your glute. It helps to have your toe flex. That will kind of take some pressure off of your knee. And as always, keeping that low back flat so you're never feeling this in your low back. And then switching sides, making sure you do both sides. And one side may not always be the same as the other. You may be able to do the pull your knee in version on one side, and you may have to stay with your foot down on the other side. And you can always build up to the other version, but listening to your body and not forcing it to be the same. The next stretch we're going to do, we're going to draw this knee up towards your chest, and then we're going to take it over towards the opposite armpit. So we're pulling, you can straighten out your bottom leg, however helps you to balance. You can have it bent, but we're pulling that leg over until we feel the stretch in that opposite glute. Trying to keep your shoulders nice and flat here so you have a nice anchor to keep yourself stable. And making sure to do this stretch on both sides, pulling in and over to the opposite armpit. Okay, the next stretch we're going to do is another variation of the piriformis stretch. It's called pigeon pose in yoga, if you're familiar with that. But we're going to take whichever leg you want to start with, and we're going to bring it underneath your body at an angle. It can be totally horizontal, or the foot can be closer to your groin, and that is going to be less intense the closer the foot is to the body. And it also helps to kind of keep the toe flexed here, take some pressure off of the knee, and it's okay to just stay in this position upright. So breathing here, listening to what your hips want to do, your body. You can shift your weight here, shifting kind of into that hip that's bent, and then shifting out of that position. And another thing I like to do is take this back leg, tuck your toe, and then kind of pull yourself a little bit deeper into the position. So instead of pulling yourself forward, you're going to kind of roll your heel back and set yourself a little bit deeper into that stretch. And then if you feel comfortable and ready, you can bring yourself all the way down onto your forearms, or even all the way down onto your chest. But finding a spot that's comfortable to you to hang out for a little while. This stretch can be done for minutes at a time, trying to relax. But if you feel yourself fighting back and kind of trying to force your way out of it as you're pushing yourself into it, that may mean that you are doing a stretch that's a little bit too advanced and a little bit too intense for your body at this moment. So back out of it, listen to your body. You can always go back to this variation on your back. But just sinking into this movement here, I always like to kind of try to drive my hip that's leg is extended. You want to kind of push that hip forward, and you're going to push the hip that's bent back. So you're trying to level out your hips here and really get a good stretch into that piriformis. Last exercise I'm going to show you today is one that we've done in our low back workout, but it's a good one. We're going to come all the way down onto our stomach, starting with the first level, propping up on your elbows, and just getting used to letting your back have some extension here. And one thing that helps is to kind of, it's almost as if you're trying to pull yourself forward by just your elbows. You're not really going to move anywhere, but you're just pressing your chest through your arms, opening up your chest here, and feeling that extension in your mid back and your low back. I like to put a little bit of pressure down on my shoulder blades as well. And this position can get a little bit shaky. And then we're going to relax out of it. Pressing up again, holding 5 to 10 seconds on the pressing. And then 5 to 10 seconds on the resting. And if this is enough, go ahead and stay on your elbows. If you're ready to move on, we're going to go into a full press up. So hands either under your shoulders for the most intense, or you can walk your hands all the way out in front of you for a little bit less intense. I'm going to start with my hands under my shoulders. Starting out, inhaling on the way up, exhaling at the top, and really letting your glutes relax here. Trying to get a little bit of mobilization throughout your sacrum and your SI joint. When those joints in your low back get stiff from a lack of movement, it's just a matter of time before something gets pinched and you start having some pain in your back or down your leg. It's important to keep all the joints in the body nice and limber, and you want them to be able to function through their full range of motion. And this exercise can be a little bit scary for someone who's got some low back pain. And I think part of it is because your glute is such a protector muscle that glute wants to take over and try to do the work for us, when really it just ends up putting more pressure on the spine. Because of where the glute muscle attaches, when it contracts, especially when you're going into extension, it can cause some pinching on the lumbar spine. So it's really important to try to relax your glutes here when you're in this prone position, because we don't want to put extra pressure on the lumbar spine. All right, friends, that's all for our exercises for sciatic pain. If you have any questions, please put those down in the comment section. Leave any requests for future videos. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also hit that notification bell. All right, guys, see ya.